Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the Everton ClubCall live. Patrons, get your calls in. There's so much to talk about, so much going on at Everton Football Club. There's a big game tomorrow night in the FA Cup, big game on Monday night in the Premier League. There's all kind of shenanigans going on. So give us a call.
What's happening with the screen?
I don't know. Ned, what have you done? Ned?
We're on the thing and we're sitting on the couch.
What have you done? No, yeah, we know that, Ned. We know that.
It's because I just put it on OBS Ninja.
No, Ned, it's because you're an absolute...
Well, that's not true.
I mean, look at us. We just literally sat on a couch. Of course it was. Yeah. Still on. I mean, it's a good job I said something, Ned, isn't it? You know. Paid, don't do that. And
so the link is there on Patreon. Give us a call, get in touch with us, and get involved in the show. So the Frank Lampard has done his press conference.
Yeah, certainly has.
He has done that, and obviously asked a lot of pertinent questions about things above his pay grade.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of the sponsorships and stuff, but he handles it really well every time, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's very good. He's very, very good.
Very, very good.
No, he is though, isn't he? He is. So he's not going to be fazed by any of that stuff. Bats it off, answers what he can, stays away from what he doesn't feel like he should answer. So yeah, I've got no issue with any of that. All handles all that really well, and yeah, it's right. Edwin Albin says, "Why are we getting rid of Usman of our only source of income?" And I thought Mashiri co-owns USM. Well, we're just stepping away from the whole Russia thing at the moment, aren't we? He isn't our only source of income, is he? Mashiri owns the club, so yeah, that's where that's up to.
How could we not, though?
Yeah.
How could we not step away from it? There's a lot of people flapping. I've seen this. There's a lot of people flapping about all this. Like, number one, there's a war going on. Actual people are actually dying. It's not Call of Duty. This is actually happening. And we have a player whose family are in that country. How can we not walk away from these things? I find it. I've seen a few people on Twitter and different things saying, "Oh, but about this or about that." How honestly can you? I'll go forward as a football club and not do the things that we've done today. I don't understand anyone who would think otherwise. You know, ultimately, our owner, yes, has got connections, but with that, well, that's going to have to be reviewed, I imagine. That's all going to have to be reviewed in the coming days and weeks. So, I just can't see any alternative than to step away from those sources of income for the moment. We can't be parading around with the sponsorships of those companies while we're also doing the things we did on Saturday. You just can't do it.
No.
You can't do it. And more, listen, the media want stories, and they'll keep pushing and pushing. We've seen the stuff with Abramovich, seen the stuff with Tuchel, seen what Frank Lampard was asked today. They'll keep pushing, and they're looking all the time for the people who go against the grain in these circumstances. And Everton, I thought Saturday was interesting because I was looking at the boards, and there was never any mention on the boards that went round the pitch of any of these. There was the stuff that is permanently on display, but but today obviously it's been confirmed, and I don't think Everton could have done anything else. Right, we've got Johnny on the line. Is it Rockstar Johnny? Is it Rockstar Johnny? It's always good to hear from Rockstar Johnny.
It is.
Johnny, can you hear me?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, we can hear.
Here he is.
Wait, me.
Go on, mate.
You know what? Yeah, I thought Lampard handled the questions brilliantly. I think he's been fantastic since he's come in. He's been honest. I feel like we've had quite a lot of managers who've kind of shied away from the bigger stuff and they've kind of protected themselves instead of the club. But Lampard's I think he's been spot on since he's come in with all that stuff. But what I really want to talk about is tomorrow. People are talking about Michalenko being the captain and everything. I personally would make Anthony Gordon the captain for tomorrow night. I think we did it a few years ago with Tom Davis.
And
just
Ross
to show
Barkley.
a bit of kind of faith in him. Yeah, just show a bit of faith in the lad. Plus, he's kind of taken that leadership role on a little bit, I think, over the last few weeks. Like there was when Alan got booked the other night, it was Gordon that was over there talking to the referee on Alan's behalf and then kind of getting rid of Alan from the situation. And I thought, there's leadership in that.
Yeah.
And I'd probably bring him off and give Michalenko the captain's armband for the last 15 or something like that. You know, if the club sees fit. I'd also, anyone know how old Martin Sheriff is? You know, the lad in the 23s, under 18s. I'm sure he's only 15.
Go on.
I'm sure he's only like.
I think he's a bit. He scored, didn't he, for the thingy the other day for the 18s. So he is only young, 15, 16, yeah.
Because he's been round a 23 setup as well. I would give him the last 30 seconds of the game just to break the Eddie Small's record.
Absolutely.
Just absolutely smash that record because he kind of left under a cloud, and I think there was a little bit of a gesture from the club last season in saying to him like, yeah, there is progression, do you know what I mean? And just having that name on the youngest, you know, like the youngest player to play for us and stuff, that just doesn't sit right with me. So I'd put Sheriff on for the last 15. Do you boys think there's going to be many of the 23s in the squad? Because I'm sure isn't the 5 subs?
Five
tomorrow?
subs, yeah.
5 subs, yeah.
I think.
Do you think we'll see some of them?
Possibly the likes of Branthwaite might start, and then you might have the likes of Dobbin and Onyango coming off the bench.
Onyango's injured.
Well, isn't he? Is he fully out, or is he being managed? I don't know what the.
He said he's just got a concern over him.
Yeah,
he's got a hernia problem.
Got a hernia, so maybe he won't. But I think they're managing him. But I don't know whether that means that they'll leave him out completely. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think Dobbin will be there, obviously, and I think Branthwaite, depending on what you want to call, whether he's an under 23 or whatever, will be involved. And obviously Patterson, who's first team, I think will start the game. So I don't know if there's too many more past that, to be honest. Go on.
Do you think he'll start? Because I don't know, Lampard's body language to me in the interview suggested that he isn't maybe ready.
Well, if he's not ready to play Boreham Wood, then I don't know if he's ever going to be ready to play for Everton.
No, that's true.
I think it was almost like, I think in the press conference, I think it was a little bit like, well, I've already told you Michalenko's playing, I'm not giving you any more. I think it was a little bit like, listen, he mightn't be starting for all we know, but I didn't take that as he wasn't playing. I just thought that was like, I'm not giving you any more information.
Yeah, I think he'll get minutes. I think he'll probably put John Joe Kenny on I think he'll start Kenny because he's had a good couple of games, and I think he'll probably bring Patterson on, but we'll see. There's another question for you, actually, chaps. Why don't the 23s play at Walton Hall Park?
I don't know. We've had this conversation lots of times. I'm not sure. It might be because of the facilities. It might be because the facilities are 100% for the women. But I do know that I'm pretty sure they still have school cup finals and stuff there, like they've always had, with it being the schoolboys pitch. Right. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But what I would say is that I 100%, I think Baz agrees with me on this, I think that should be the home of Everton under 23s. I can understand why they played Southport. It's sort of out the way. It gives them a taste of a little bit of reality, whilst also helping a local club pay for its pitch. But to me, I just think Walton Hall Park, there's nothing glamorous about it. It's not a very glamorous position, unless there's something. Again, we saw about this yesterday. It's a very open ground, and what I mean by that is, you drive in off the Lancs. It has one car park, which goes straight into the ground. It's right next to the sports centre. It's right next to the five-a-side pitches. It is very open now, but it's where the women play, so why can't the under-23s play there? I don't know, but there might be a little bit more to it, but it might just be that it's the home of the Everton ladies. I don't know. I just think it's mad that they don't. It's an Everton ground. It's owned by Everton. If anyone's seen the likes of Barcelona's stadium, it's they share it with the B team, share it with sorry, not the B team, their under 21s or whatever, and their youth team share it with their women's team, and it was built about 2, 3, 4 years ago maybe. It has facilities for the men's teams and the women's teams, so they're completely separate, but obviously the same pitch. And I just think, why don't we have something like that? Why aren't we forward thinking like that, where it is our academy and women's team pitch? Because otherwise, what's the point? It's not being used enough.
It was built with that purpose, wasn't it? I'm sure that when it was being built or it was being developed or whatever, I'm sure the idea was that it was going to be for essentially not the first team. It was going to be the pitch for the teams that aren't the first team. And it just seems a bit daft to me that we play out in Southport, which is a pain to get to.
Yeah, it's not Liverpool, is it? It's not Liverpool.
It's not Liverpool. And the strange thing is, like, whenever the 23s play at Goodison, especially if it's like it's free to get in or whatever like that, then there's always a good turnout, and you get to know the players more. Like, it just seems very odd to me that you'd build that facility and then not make the best use of it, especially when, like, we were supposed to play Chelsea on the 23s the other day, got called off because the pitch was knackered. I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in taking them all the way up there?
The only argument I could see is, so obviously they've got the show pitch at Finch Farm, which is a closed-off environment, so you can't really go in unless you're sort of invited or or you're a parent or that thing. So sometimes they've played on there, but not very often. You've got Goodison, which they have to play so many games on, and then you've got Southport, which is obviously a more developed stadium than Walton Park. And maybe it might come down to the simple fact of Walton Park isn't very big. The pitch, it's not a very big pitch. It doesn't comply with certain safety things. No, but I know what I mean by that, Baz, is Southport ground is a proper ground. It's got a stadium. It's a proper stand. It's got proper facilities. It's got. I'm just saying that maybe we're still talking about. By the way, we're still talking about under 23s players who are £1 million assets, aren't we? If the facilities are not quite, if they can't control those facilities, what I mean is, because that car park, they'd have to share that with all the people playing five-a-side footy. So maybe there's that little bit of, we can't control the environment. Whereas when it's the women's game, it's a little bit different.
There's a lot of that, isn't there? Like, I used to know a girl who played for Mossley Hill, and when they were like pushing for promotion, one of the things that was kind of spoken about kind of off the pitch was that if they did get promoted, they'd have to change their facilities, and the facilities would have to go up and all the rest of it. So it could very much be a facilities thing. But
yeah, and I wouldn't want a situation also where the women's team started to feel like that wasn't their ground. And they were second-class citizens in their own ground, and the lads, their changing rooms, for all I might know, maybe heavily for I'm trying to think of what but the women's facilities, let's just say, and they haven't got men. Maybe they'd have to build another block or something. I don't know. To be honest, it's a question someone really should ask Everton and say, just can you give us a little bit of insight why? And it might be
we can ask, can't we?
Yeah, it might just be a very simple answer, like that's the women's ground or whatever, or maybe they got grants and off.
It could be contractual.
It could be, there's a lot of little things. So, but I do think they should play there. I really do. I think, and we've both said that for a long time. It seems, when you've got a, sometimes you hear the under 23s playing, and you hear like decent half players are good. And you think, right, well, if I finish work at 6, say, or 5:30, and I've got to get to Southport, it's an hour, isn't it? It's an hour up there, in traffic or on the train. And you think, and then it's an hour back, and you're thinking, this is supposed to be our local team. Why aren't they just playing at Walton Park up the road from Goodison?
Well, yeah, because I'm sure, like, there was years ago, I got a cassette with Andy Gray's kind of my time at Everton, which was really good. And he was talking about when he played as a reserve at Goodison on a Thursday night or whatever it was, and was saying that there was always decent attendance. I don't see the point in not letting the lads play in front of fans. Do you know what I mean? Like, surely the club wants that connection between the players coming through.
Yeah. I used to go to Goodison all the time to watch the Rezzies, and they used to have really good crowds. I wonder again whether, I'm not sure what the average crowd is that watches them at Southport. I think Walton Park only holds about 1,800, I think, at most. And a lot of that is uncovered as well. So if you go, a lot of their games are nighttime games as well, with the women's games are normally daytime games where you're guaranteed a little bit more sunshine, of course. So maybe it's that as well. Maybe it's the facilities for the fans as well. Maybe they don't feel like they're up to standard for those nighttime games. And again, as I say, it's not just our players you've got to think about, the opposition's players as well. You know, have they got that controlled environment? You look at Man City's little mini stadium. It's a fantastic little ground, but it's very much a 21st century ground. I'm not 100% sure Walton Park has that criteria just yet, or if it ever will. But I think that's something Everton should definitely strive for. Definitely 100%, having that little mini stadium as they go forward.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Baz?
No, I think they should be playing where the women are.
Yeah.
Said it like close to Goodison Park, give people a chance to go and watch it. I'm quite sure the Premier League, the women's Super League requirements are quite high for what everything has to be there. So why would it be any different? If the Everton aren't going to play there, I don't think playing at Hague Avenue helps them at all. I think if they're not going to play at the women's, then they should just play at Finch Farm when it's at home. Why do you need to open it up to anybody? Just need a pitch and you can televise it or whatever. Doesn't need to have fans. It's better if fans are there, of course it is, because it gives the players to get used to playing in front of a crowd. But
I'd really like that. I'd really like that element as well of Walton Park, of players being really close to the fans and feeling what it feels like to be right next to them.
Of course, yeah.
So really good point, John.
We'll have to find out.
We will. We'll find out for you, mate.
Why is the reason? Yeah.
Good man for calling, mate. Go on.
Top man.
We'll only let patrons know.
Stay then.
Nice
Stay.
one, mate.
Nice one, Johnny. Top man.
Speak soon,
all
mate.
right.
Ta-ra,
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
Johnny throwing an important question in straight away.
There is, yeah. I'm sorry, just seeing a headline saying James Rodriguez alerts boss Frank Lampard with second stint on Toffee's return. There you go. I mean, I don't think he does, but fair play. Fair play. Yeah, interesting points, definitely. Stephen Lamb says, evening chaps, really enjoy Friday night. Nice to finally meet you guys. Nice to sit and chat with Degsy. There's right, Steve. Top man. Bainey says, the ultimate human suffering going on in a European country by a regime who lies and does their utter best to keep outside influences and news media away from their own people. We are behind them, sure to bringing on World War III. We have a Ukrainian player. Least we can do as a club is remove the Russian influence, branding and sponsorship from the club. Stuart Thompson says, hi guys, so tomorrow is my wedding to Gail. I would love it in tomorrow's show if you could give her a shout out. If Ned wanted to do a song, that'd be amazing.
Who's this?
Stuart Thompson. Getting married
Thompson,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Getting married on the day Everton are playing, Stu.
Incredible.
What is going on there? We'll give it a shout out at some stage. Not sure what we're doing yet tomorrow, but we'll give it a shout out at some stage, definitely. But have a great day, Stuart. Enjoy it. Good luck. And just enjoy it more than anything. Jez says only Everton could mean that any escape from the war chat brings me straight back to the war chat. Golden. Andy Budd says, alright lads, it's great to see Everton make the right decision today with the sponsors. Do you think we'll take that as an opportunity to find something as good, if not better, or just doing Everton and end up with the Quick Save Stadium? Is this with regards to what, mate? With regards to naming rights for the stadium? Because I'm not convinced it was always going to be USM anyway as the naming rights.
Well, they had the first. They paid for the first
option.
option.
First options they didn't have to take up.
Everton didn't have to take up. They just had the first option. I mean,
but sometimes that's a bar setter. isn't it?
Yeah, or it's a way of getting free money into
Well,
the
of course, but that's what everybody does. But I'm saying, for Everton, that was a bar setter. Well, USM have offered 300 million for 10 years, whatever, or, you know, or 30 million a season, whatever it may be. Probably longer than that, whatever. So that's the going rate. If you want to sponsor the stadium, have your name all over the stadium, then it's 30 million a season. And companies go yes or no. I don't know whether it'd be that high, but that's, you know, that was what was mentioned at that time. So we'll see what happens with that. This is obviously very early on in this conflict. Hopefully this will, you know, somehow this will come to a resolution where they can retreat and just go back to their own country and let Ukrainians get on with their lives. It seems unlikely at the moment, but you never know. So it's hard to see any further than that right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where we're up to. Where are we? William Lindsay said predicted lineup tonight for the game tomorrow.
There's a show for that. It's called Stan 11 show.
Well, I don't know. I'm saying is that what he's asking, or is he talking about someone else? I don't know. The Matty Bush has heard someone say the other day that the Premier League should be going out and getting the world's best referees instead of paying these sorry people silly amounts of money just to mess things up. Yeah. Basic Trig says give the stream a like. There you go. I mean, he's told you. Once Basic Trig tells you to give the stream a like, I fear for you if you don't. Yeah, so we're going to go to the next call, aren't we? And it is John, I do believe. When you've finished doing whatever you're doing.
Go on.
Multitasking.
Hi, can you hear me?
Go on, John.
Hey, it's John.
All right, hey guys, how you doing?
No,
Good.
not too bad.
Not too bad.
All right, how's the weather over there?
Wet and
Wet,
damp, like
yeah.
it's just always
Dark,
wet. That's
miserable.
it. Wet, damp.
So English.
Yeah, it's just grey.
Yeah,
It's just grey.
It's rubbish.
Whatever anyone said it ever was, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I won't mention that we're finally getting 75-degree Fahrenheit weather here. So
I don't even know what that is.
but I
Where
will
are
not
you?
mention-
Where are you?
I will not- I'm in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
75, lovely.
But you know, we have a saying here that if you don't like the weather in St. Louis, just wait a day, it'll change. So 2 days ago there was ice and snow on the ground, and now it's 74. And 2 days it might be snow again. But
Okay.
anyway, enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think not much has happened since the last time I talked to you a couple weeks ago. Just a couple points. One, and I don't want to get too deep into the penalty call because it was obviously atrocious. But you know, obviously as Americans, we're very used to replay and things like that. I haven't really seen this mentioned, so I just want to kind of bring this up. And here's what I really don't understand about the FA VAR system, which is why is it solely in the power of only one person in the truck or in the studio or whatever? Like, why is there not a team, or why is there not at least one other person who would have been there along with Chris Kavanaugh? Because I feel like, I mean, obviously they can afford to pay two people, right? And whether that's, you know, because I've seen other people in the past say, well, you should have ex-players in there who truly understand the game and intent and things like that. You know, why wouldn't you have maybe like a referee who obviously is an expert, supposed to be an expert on the rules, right? But then maybe also pair them up with somebody who's a fully trained up ex-player, manager, what have you. Because I really feel like if there were two people in that booth, the other would have said, hold on, mate, that's a handball, right? And at the very least, they would have said, okay, to break the tie, let's go to the guy on the ground, right? Because I do think, because again, in the U.S., again, I don't. This is not a U.S. versus U.K. thing, but there are a few things that I think we do better, right? And that this is one of them, which is in the U.S., like say NFL, the referee has to stand there in the middle of the field with a microphone on and tell the people in the stadium exactly what happened and why it happened, right? Whether it's he's giving a call for the home team or giving a call where he's going to get absolutely slaughtered. by the fans.
Yeah.
He has to stand there and be accountable and say, this is the decision and this is why, right? And I don't understand why that is not. This is just common sense to me. So I'll pause there, and then I have another comment. So I'll let you guys discuss that. And then I have one.
I just think for that, I think it's just because it does. For me, I think it keeps it simple and it keeps it true to football. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I do look at like what goes on at NFL with you look at all the people, and because it's not something I've grown up with as a sport, it's
right.
Sometimes you look at how many people they have and you do wonder why they need so many, but I suppose it's the sport integrity, isn't it, of NFL?
It's transparency.
Yeah, you see these flags just getting thrown on, and then afterwards, then they go up and go, what was that for? And they find out, and then the ref has to tell the crowd what it's for, which is a really good idea. I think, for me, I think the irony of what you're saying is that if the VAR guy on Saturday had just said, I'd handed it back to the referee and said, well, there's something there, I need you to go and look at the screen. I think that's all you need. I don't think you need a team of people. I just think you need the right way of doing things. And the right way of doing things certainly for us is, if there's something that doesn't smell right, give it back to the referee and let him figure out. I think that's the simplest way.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is team is probably the wrong word. Put one other person in that booth, or have one other person. Maybe it's the director, maybe because again, in like baseball, they have replay and they always say, well, they're sending it to New York, right? Okay. Maybe Mike Riley as the head of whoever's in charge has to, because again, how many of these decisions are happening at the same time? You can have one person who's overseeing it where the guy says, hey, I'm not sure. And then that has to go to, we'll call it a supervisor or whatever, who has to sign off on it. I just don't see, even if you don't want the referee standing on the pitch explaining the decision, okay, fine, right? But the other thing I heard too is that, and I don't know if this is true, maybe you guys can weigh in on this, is that you did hear a lot right after it happened is like, well, why didn't he send it to the referee? And then I don't remember who said it, but somebody on Twitter said, hey, the referee doesn't have to wait for the guy to send it to him. He could request it. Do you know if that's true or not?
It's not something I've ever actually heard that.
Okay.
I thought he could.
Me neither, which is why I'm surprised to hear.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's not true. It's just something I've never heard, and again, that comes down to transparency, doesn't it? I think, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, I said before, if I was the referee, I'd be saying I want to see it myself. I want to see it. Yeah. You get the feeling in the stadium. You got the feeling in Goodison on Saturday that it was a penalty immediately. So,
do you feel like it's cowardice is a strong word, but do you feel like it's cowardice that the referees don't want to have to be subjected to that kind of transparency or interaction?
I think it's difficult not to be caught up into like conspiracy theories, because I think it's if you think, and I certainly do think too much about that at times, is what are they telling each other? That was a penalty, but we can't give it because we need City to win, for argument's sake, in that incident, in other teams involved with different things. Because otherwise, if everything is straight off straight down the middle, then why wouldn't you want everybody to hear your conversation? If you're saying to me, John, listen, that's a handball, or I can't make my mind up here, you need to have a look at it. What? There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Surely.
Surely.
Well, sorry, Joe, I was just going to say, surely, if they work to like I've heard like the Australian one, the Australians do it with, and they clearly have, it's almost scripted. It's, you ask a certain question, which is a certain question, which is obviously provided beforehand, and then the other guy in the VAR booth has a response to that, and it's all done in like appropriate language. And I think if we did something like that, it would make it, and then you wouldn't have any issues with going to them. I think it'd be very, very simple.
Well, I don't know how the Australians do it, but again, in the US, actually in the NFL, the replay official is in the stadium, right? And he sits right next to the announcers, right? Maybe not in the same room, but I can think of many times where, the broadcast team has said, we're hearing this call is going to be overturned.
Yeah.
right?
Because they're right
And so
there, yeah.
there actually is interaction there. And this is slightly on topic, but slightly off topic. So obviously the offside wasn't given, but here in the U.S., our broadcast team was told, I don't know by who, that it was given because it was Richarlison was offside in the build-up to the play, and they said, okay, well, if that's the case, then that's absolutely legitimate. Turns out later that was completely false information.
Yeah.
But that's the other problem I have with VAR is the fact that they're allowed to go back to the run-up of the play, because in the NFL it's very, very clear cut. You cannot call a foul. You're not supposed to be able to call a foul for something that was not called on the field during a replay. So in other words, you could only overturn or uphold a call on the field based on what was challenged. Right? You can't go back and say, oh, well, guess what? We were watching the video and we saw holding on that play, and so we're going to call a holding penalty. Can't do that. It's like double jeopardy. Right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that annoys me, because it's, as people say, it's like, oh, how far do you go back?
Yeah.
Right? It's not scientific. Okay. Anyway, and then last comment, I guess, would be, and God, I hate to bring this up, but it does concern me that Moshiri's, as I very, very lightly tried to say on Everton internet, which is always a dangerous thing, is that people say, I kept seeing, well, it's nothing to do with us. We've got a billionaire owner. It's nothing to do with us. And my response was, well, where do you think he got those billions?
Yeah.
He's worked with Usmanov the entire, and this is not me conspiracy theory that Farhad is sitting there with his foam finger Putin number one hand. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that, his money comes from Usmanov. He was an accountant. Okay. How does an accountant become a billionaire? Well, partner up with a Russian oligarch is a good way to do it. So I am concerned, and I would be interested if you had I don't know if you've had John on or John Blaine on, or if you plan on having him on, because he's obviously, nobody's a real expert in this stuff, but I just feel like, first of all, today's decision was the right thing to do, and it was late. And I get that they're buddies, but I am concerned because he's the chairman of USM.
He is, yeah.
And to say that, well, it's not the same, our USM is a Netherlands company. Well, that's an accounting trick. And Moshiri's an accountant. So I don't buy that for 1 second. Like, that's just, I don't know. Like, it just concerns me. I don't have an answer. It just concerns me. I'm done. You can discuss if you want to. Thanks.
I think
up the Toffees.
Thanks. Go on, John.
Go destroy Bournemouth.
There you go. Thanks, John.
Nice one, John. Top
Thanks,
man.
John.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, take care, pal.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's like he is the chairman of USM. But he's got, if it's not the same USM, then why have they took USM off the side of the building? It's all very, very complicated, and it's all very, very murky, and it's not where I would like Everton Football Club to be. What I would say is, I don't actually think I've heard anybody mention Moshiri in terms of USM yet. So that doesn't seem to be a story anyone's really bothered with or following.
No.
So if that's the case, Everton will probably just try and keep those two things separate as long as they can. What do you do? I mean, the guy, unless he sells us, I don't think there's very much we can do just as it stands. It's not nice. I don't really want this stuff attached to Everton, but it is ultimately, and as much as we are, I think what we did today was the right thing. I think it was the only thing we could do, and I think we just have to see how it plays out, and then see how much Moshiri is actually involved, or if the pressure starts coming on him, which it doesn't seem to be at the moment, because there is deniability because it's not the same USM, but it's murky. It's above my pay grade. That's what I'm going to say. I have no idea really what we can do.
The Matty Bush says, I 7-day 1 VAR should be manned by a company independent from the FA and the EPL, maybe made up of ex-players and journalists, people who know the game and have not preconceived agendas. Yeah, totally agree. Just over on Patreon. Let me just refresh that. Nick O'Brien says, hello lads, been watching for years, finally became a patron.
Yes.
Top man. Just getting to grips with how it works. Just want to say hello from Kirby via Kirkdale. I love the shows and believe there should be a chance to change results post-game in this type of instance. And to be honest, there is a narrative to keep the top two at the top in the race. WWE is really starting to kill the game. By the way, corrupt as anything. Yeah. What can you do, Nick? We just got to keep highlighting it because it is rather embarrassing, to be honest.
I just worry that if you could start changing games afterwards, that again it would
everything would be challenged.
Yeah, everything would end up being a case of
you'd never know what's what. Would you?
Imagine getting home and now celebrating a great win, and then there and something had happened, and someone's foot was out on the pitch while they were taking a throw or something.
Yeah,
you know, you've got to be.
I don't think
you've got to be very, very careful how far you take that kind of stuff. It's all supposed to balance out. I don't know if it always does, but
no. Lyons, he says, even the lads fellow Blues think the Premier League is rich enough to have an extra referee in a booth at the ground, so you can instantly see the problem in a game. And is instead of coward at Stockley Park, he's there to answer immediately and also be asked by the decision.
Well, here's a question for you all then. Would you rather have an extra guy in Stockley Park, or would you rather have 2 extra linesmen on? So you have 2 linesmen on both sides, 1 for each half. So we have 4 linesmen in total. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have an extra?
They always see the things that far.
No, I'm asking the question.
Okay.
I'm asking the question. That's all. What would you rather have?
Well, I'd rather have someone different than referees doing VAR. The VAR isn't the issue. VAR isn't the issue. The people implementing it.
Well,
that is the issue.
It's something I heard last night, and I totally forgot this. I think I knew this, but I forgot this. Lee Mason was in the VAR last night, right? Yeah. But Lee Mason is a full-time VAR official. He doesn't referee on the pitch.
No, he's not done anything
right.
this year, has he?
So is that something you'd be in favour of people, VAR people? Chris Kavanagh last night did the game, right? So would you rather have it so the people in the VAR were never ever on the field of play? Yeah. So full time.
But I'd rather have an independence.
Yeah, I would.
People take it rather than ex-Premier League referees as well.
But that would be the starting point, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I think
I don't know how you can be in the VAR 1 week and then referee in the game. I just think it's.
And I also think, and I think you have similar on this. I don't think those 2 people should ever sort of meet. Know each other.
No, because it should be about
blind date.
Both just going, this is the decision, and this is the reason why.
Okay.
Because rather than relationship. So.
Okay, we've got. Is it Loz? Yeah. We've got Loz on. Loz, go on.
Boy.
Go on, mate.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Oh, great, yeah. Oh, good. So it's just a few things, really. First of all, I'm just made up with how the fans have responded to Lampard, because for a while it's been awful. Goodison, as you know, more than anyone. Things like on Saturday when the goal went in, I was made up. The fans did not give up. They were like, no, we can get something from this, and obviously we would have done if it wasn't for certain people. Yeah. I can't remember a time really since Lampard's taken over. I know it's only a short time where we've been playing out from the back, or we've been passing it around the back, and the fans have been screaming, "Get it out, get it forward!" Because under, I think, every other manager that I can remember anyway, as soon as the play slows down, even though it's we need to slow it down, the fans are right on the players' back. So I'm just made up the way that it seems to be 99% of the ground maybe have responded to the football, going, there's going to be a few hairy moments, and maybe we won't hit the ground running, but we're going to stick with these players, because that's the best I've felt after a defeat in a long time, because I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. But I am touching wood, so don't worry. After Saturday, I was like, you know what? If we can compete with Man City at home, we can stay up. I mean, with these group of players, especially with that midfield three. I mean, it's the first time we've seen it. We were all hoping we'd see it, and it was exactly what we think it would be. You know, it was perfect. Alan, Takori, and Banzaby. So I'm just first of all again just made up with the fans, because sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we do, it's difficult mentioning that a lot across the park. I do watch them, unfortunately, because I've got a lot of family that are Reds, so you know, you get forced to, don't you, sometimes. You turn up and the match is on and you're like, oh, for God's sake. But what I'll say about their fans is, even when they're younger players or even older players aren't playing the best in the ground, they always back them, and I think sometimes we don't always do that. And understandably, because some of the performances our players put in, it'd be hard for anyone to back them. So that's just, first of all, I'm just made up with how the players have responded to Lampard, because it's been boss. And I feel like we've got our club back. I don't know about yous.
No, I think going back to your first point there, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think going back to the Liverpool thing, I think Klopp conditioned their fans to be like that. Like, as in again, this is difficult for us to talk about because of where we are, but I think he basically said, I've got no problem with, I think Klopp, I've been very open like this, I think Klopp's an unbelievable manager, and I think we'd absolutely love him to be Everton's manager. And I think personally Liverpool have done things, again, I'm not arsed about saying this, I think Liverpool have done things absolutely perfectly in the way they've done things, you know. And I think what Klopp did was he challenged the fans. He basically said, you want 90 minutes off us, why are you all getting off with 10 minutes to go? You want 90 minutes off us, why aren't you singing for 90 minutes? Not that they do, like, you know, they give it up once they have that song and that. And they turn the mics up at the front. No, but he said to them, didn't he? And this is something we've said for a long time when we've talked about atmosphere, is like, I'd love the manager to come out and challenge the fans and say, come on then, why aren't you want more out of us? Why are you quiet in games then? Why does it settle down? And I don't think Lampard's done that, but you have heard straight from the start, we need the crowd behind us. If we're going to do this, we need the crowd behind us. And I think that's energised the crowd, and as in to say, we are important here. We're not just spectators, we're proper fans. And I want more of that. I want the manager to turn around and say to fans, come on, get in the ground and start creating an atmosphere when it's needed, of course. But I think that's what Klopp did brilliantly. He stood up to fans and said, no, all you do is chat about what you want, but you don't do anything to help. And I think loads of like the old school Liverpool fans, because Liverpool have got this thing, haven't they? You've got the old fans, like the Scouse-based fans, and all they do is moan about the outsiders getting all the tickets and all this kind of thing. I think what Klopp got on his side when he did that was he got all the locals then saying, yeah, you're absolutely right. And then, listen, Spirit of Sankey and all that probably started getting involved and, you know, hunting all the wolves down or whatever. But he made a point though of saying, if you're, you know what, and I know people laugh at them when they got the 2-2 with West Brom and they did the whole thing down at the Kop, but that was a thing to say to the fans. See, this is changing. And I think what you said then about the game on Saturday, Lampard came over to the Galaxies at the end, and he's done it obviously every game, and he's clapped, and he's like, if we've won games, he's give the put the fist up and everything. But he comes down and he claps you, where obviously the last manager wouldn't come anywhere near the Galaxy, would he? Let's be honest, he's not going to have come, and he's not, because he knows what the response is going to be. And it is that thing of like, if you play well, you will be clapped. The manager will get respect, and it is a two-way thing. And I think the manager has to. Moyes used to do it all the time. You'd make subs and you'd hear the grumbling, and then the sub would score, and we've seen the famous one. He took his jacket off, as in to say, "See there, no bad. I told you."
Threw it on the floor.
Well, he did, didn't he? He took it off and threw it on the floor, as in to say, "See, I told you." And it's all those little things that make you go, "Yeah, this fella does get it. Does get us." And I think that's been a really refreshing part of it. I've gone into the ground a lot earlier. A lot more people have noticed.
I get in a quarter to now.
Well,
I used to get in 2:59, so I'm absolutely smashing it.
I've noticed people are getting there earlier, and Everton have to help. I mean, it doesn't help when Carlin's the only drink you can buy, but
oh God,
no, but it's got to be that thing of like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it together. We need the fans.
I love the fact that he's got so involved early on. I love it. I love the fact that we needed it. We've had we weren't really there with Carlo. Carlo was never going to do it anyway, was he? He was,
Break a hip.
No, but it's just not that, no one like Koeman. Marco didn't really have to, didn't do enough to do it. Where Lampard, and obviously none of us like Benitez. So the fact that Lampard's come into the football club and done that immediately, and the fans have responded. The fans have been brilliant, it has to be said, in all the home games. But you're right, Saturday when the goal went in, the way they just stood up and started singing again, I thought was brilliant. And it did enable the team. What we've seen in the past, and again, it's early days and you don't go overboard because it can change. It's Everton, freaking hell. You know what it's like. But in the past, when we'd lost that goal at 83 minutes, that would have ended up 2 or 3-0 because we'd have just retreated and give them the ball. And we didn't. We were on the front foot because of the fans, and we got denied a penalty that we should have been given. We got a couple of corners in injury time. I mean, the referee said 5 minutes injury time. Ederson lay down for 3 minutes of it, none of it got added on.
None of that got. No one made anything of that because of the handball. Yeah. But he must have. He laid down on the floor for 3 minutes.
Yeah, and it didn't get added on. So there is all that, but the fans are brilliant, and the more we do that, then the more opportunities we will get to win games of football, which will get us safe. And then we reassess in the summer, and the manager can move on to the next phase then, which is actually getting the coach and getting his style of play properly, because they've responded very well to what he's done so far.
Just on Lampard quickly, the more I hear from that fella, the more I like him. He's obviously everything he does. He's thought about. Like every time they sing a song, he claps straight away. And that is just feeding back to the fans. And on Saturday, I don't think I can love a man anymore. His match reaction was fantastic. It was like a fan, wasn't it? It was like
me.
A fan.
I'd literally, because I hate referees, and everyone knows, and that's what I would have said. That kind of thing.
Just on that, I do like it when I always think when a ref makes a bad decision, I always go, I can't wait to hear Baz's match reaction. I'll be honest, it's a bit of a highlight the way you just go into all of them.
I hate them, mate, because I hate the school teaching.
The current one, do you reckon?
John Moss. John Moss, I think, is a disgrace. What a horrible fella. Him. I hated Mason. I couldn't have him for a second. Oh, yeah. But you know what? They're all crap.
They are all crap.
I used to think Michael Oliver, I used to think he's quite good, and I still think he's all right, but even him at times.
We seem to get the same ones every other week.
There's loads of refs, and we have the same ref every 3 games. It's just, oh my God. But no, it is, listen, you're absolutely right. Lampard responds, and what that does then to you as a fan is you think, I'm actually affecting something here. So we're singing his name, and he's showing the appreciation, which makes you think, like, I'm making a difference here in this game, and the players do the same thing.
I heard someone. No. Listen, this is a genuine point.
Go on.
I heard someone got 5 Jake Goodison on Saturday. That's all I'm saying. It's the power of Frank.
The
power of Frank compels you. The power of Frank compels you to get 5G. Did not before Frank?
It did nothing. Couldn't get 3G with Benitez. There you go. But
he's amazing, isn't he? He's amazing.
No, he's done. Listen, he's done well. I think he realises as well that he's got a great club, and after Chelsea, he doesn't know what he was going to get. I think the biggest thing, I said this today, it might have been on the other live show we did, that as well as him being such a brilliant frontman, which he is, like PR-wise and stuff, the way he is with his media savvy, he's got a presence about him, he's saying the right things. The thing that's impressed me is his backroom team. Those fellas, winners, won stuff, experienced, and then you merge that with the likes of Duncan and stuff. It all comes together nicely, and it feels as though the football club, certainly from the playing side, and obviously Kevin Thelwell's come in now with the director of football. Hopefully he'll be allowed to do his job, I think, which is the key thing. It feels like we're all moving in the same direction, and that comes from the fans being able to get behind the manager. So that for me is why I walked out of Goodison on Saturday night thinking, I'm gutted and I'm disappointed that penalty wasn't given, but I feel like we're actually going the other way now. And it isn't being borne out. We're still there, 4th from bottom. but it just feels like that. And I understand now momentum. When teams talk about momentum, and sometimes it's the iceberg thing, isn't it? Everything's happening below us, and I feel like that's happening with us. Listen, whether it plays out like that, I don't know, but that's how I feel at the moment, and that's even with us losing the last couple of games.
Aye. Great call, Loz. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks
See
very
you
much,
later.
mate. Speak to you soon.
Right, man, see you later.
Roman Abramovich has just confirmed he's selling Chelsea.
Yeah.
Literally just happened, which is an interesting development, because I was going back to what someone was saying before about Mashiri. Obviously, a lot of pressure on Abramovich, a lot of political pressure on Abramovich as well. People saying his name in the House of Commons because they're allowed to, obviously. So he's put it for sale, which is very, very interesting. We could get another big player in the Premier League. That doesn't really matter as now, but just in terms of Mashiri and stuff, Mashiri obviously hasn't had any of that pressure that Abramovich has had, and obviously Usmanov's has, because no one's really mentioned the fact that he is chairman of MSN. Keep going quiet, you know what I mean, of USM, but it's forced Abramovich, which just shows you, that really does show you the power of what is going on. It really, really does. It's really, really interesting. Just seen a report there as well saying Seamus Coleman and other captains from the Premier League have
they've had a
meeting today about having the yellow and blue captain's armbands and stuff like that.
I've seen the Premier League are going to do a special tribute this weekend as well. Everton have retweeted that as well,
which is it's the pressure on Russia, because obviously we can't put military pressure on them. We just can't. We don't want World War III. Let's be honest, none of us want that. As bad as Everton have been, none of us want World War III. So you've got to put other kinds of pressure on, and to see someone like Abramovich selling up, that just shows you the intensity of what's going on. The man's a billionaire. He could shrug it off and go, but these fellas have got nowhere to go.
No.
These oligarchs, so they've got nowhere to go. That's a really, really interesting one. Right, next caller, we've got Ahmed, who I think may have been taking time out from saving lives.
Yeah, well, that's it.
You know what I mean? Ahmed, you there, mate?
Straight out the operating theatre on the phone.
Have you been saving any lives today?
I've been saving some marriages.
Oh,
okay. I've been doing an andrology clinic with erectile dysfunction, so yeah.
Oh, I mean,
it's right, lad.
Listen, I'll never need your help, but it's just nice to know you're there.
Hey, give it another couple of years, lad. You never know. You never know. Is Viagra safe, Ahmed? That's what people want to know.
Viagra is very safe. You get a stuffy nose and you might get some blue vision, but that's about
blue vision.
Blue vision. There you go.
What if you've got a heart condition?
So can you hear me?
Yeah,
we're riveted. We're coming to the age where this is very, very good.
Go on.
Nah, well, I've got lots of stories. Last week, a lover stabbed his other lover in the penis, and I had to fix that. So that was a story and a half. Anyway,
okay.
Was he on Viagra at the time?
No, he wasn't on Viagra.
That's okay.
But everything's all right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
good.
anyway,
go on.
I just want to. There's a false narrative being peddled by the media and by ourselves, saying that we're a difficult fan base and we were always against Rafa Benitez and all that. But Rafa Benitez, he failed as a manager.
Yeah.
And it took, he only won one game in like 20 odd or whatever it was. And any manager in any club, I've had loads of Liverpool fans saying, you didn't give him enough time. We gave him more than half a season.
Yeah.
And it took someone like Frank Lampard to come in and galvanise us and unite us. And I think actually it might turn out to be a silver lining because we're an angry fan base. And I think Frank Lampard has actually understood that very early, that we are an angry fan base. And if you motivate us, we're either angry at our own team or we're angry at the opposition.
Absolutely.
So if you get us angry at the opposition or the referee, we can be a big force for good for our own team.
Yeah.
And I think the referee decision has galvanized us. It's made us angry. It's made us us against them. And we have to beat not only the opposition, but the referee as well.
Yeah.
And this could be a real weapon for us in the future. But yeah, that's what my main point was. We could come out of this stronger, because a point against City, okay, it would have been great. But if this is a moment where we move forward as one, that could be an even bigger turning point for us.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I tell you again, I'll mention Liverpool here, right?
People aren't happy. Go on.
I don't give a monkeys if people aren't happy. I couldn't care less. Team, top 2 in the Premier League. They must be doing something right. But if you're talking about fan bases, that is the most deluded fan base in the world when it comes to decisions. They honestly think everything goes against them.
Yeah.
But that's a mindset that's been created of we don't get decisions, even though everybody knows to get every decision. But this is where it goes the other way. They now have that mentality that so all they do is bitch and moan, and then so Saturday's not about Everton. It's about Liverpool. Man City Everton should have got a penalty to help Liverpool. So it becomes a narrative that they can jump on, and they do jump on it. And that's the thing. We got lads in our studios who were like, great weekend, won the cup. Oh, but terrible, what happened to you? I'd be like, imagine if we won a cup. I wouldn't want to care about anyone else. But that's the way they think. It's that they've been hard done by, and that's a narrative that they've had for years. And they knock on the door of all the officials and the Premier League, and somehow they've been wronged in all this. And it's a clever mindset to get your fan base into, like you've just said, because then it becomes an us versus them. And other teams have got it as well, but they're the worst. They are deluded Liverpool fans when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I think we've got a genuine reason to feel like that. So he should try and harness that.
But there's an element of manifest destiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have this idea of grandiosity, so they become grandiose. We have always suffered with a bit of an underdog mentality, and it always comes out when we're doing well. So I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was the Martinez season, when we were playing Palace.
Yeah.
We went into that season with an underdog mentality, and we had Palace. If we'd won that game, I think we'd have been 6 points clear or something like that.
Yeah, we were in. Yeah, we'd have been in it. Yes.
But we have an underdog mentality as a club, and that's something Moyes bred into us in a good way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to us, that's why we get knocked out in cups by useless teams, because we can't handle the pressure. And I think actually that's another benefit of Frank Lampard, is he's not like, he doesn't want to be an underdog. No. He doesn't believe in being an underdog.
He's never been one.
Tells you that.
He's never had to be one, has he?
Exactly. And we need that change of mentality. As much as it's nice to be the underdog, it's also an excuse. Because if you lose, you're like, we weren't expected to win. We shouldn't have got fourth. Whereas if you go in and say, no, go on.
No, I was going to say comfort blanket, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not a big deal if we lose, but no, for someone like Frank Lampard, and maybe, I hate to say it, but even like Steven Gerrard, even though he's not doing too well at Villa, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
And we need that. We need someone to shake us.
But that's been bred into the club, though, even under Moshiri, though. Acceptable losses. We all heard it. Acceptable. That's an acceptable loss.
I think that was told to him, though. Do you think, in a conversation, someone went to, Moshiri, well, that's, Arsenal, we expect to lose, and he's kind of took that on board.
Because he hasn't got a fucking clue about football, that's why. Doesn't know what day it is. He probably doesn't even know he's the chairman of USN. He's probably going, these are terrible, all these. But you're their boss, am I? No, but that's another thing, isn't it? It's like saying, that's unacceptable. No, it's not acceptable. Getting knocked out by a team that are below you in the League Cup is not an acceptable loss. It's not. It should never be an acceptable loss. You should go as far as you can go and try and win a trophy, and nothing should be an acceptable loss. And that's where that's where managers have got away with things, or have been left in place for too long, or have been allowed to dictate what the thing is. And you're right, Lampard will be a little bit more like, no, we shouldn't be losing to that team. This is Everton Football Club. I know all about this club, because every time I come here, it was always hard, it was always nasty, we always had to be at our best to beat you. And I think he's starting to use a lot of that kind of phraseology when he's talking about us, saying, no, you're worth more than some of your parts. This is a great fan base, this is a great club. I know that, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, and it comes down, that's the importance of not getting any of these archaic managers, because Ancelotti, I reckon he'd put a ceiling on us. I reckon Benitez put a ceiling on us. That's why we were playing a certain way. I reckon Allardyce, Koeman had put ceilings on us. You need a bit of fresh blood to say, hang on a minute, this is a big club with a financially wealthy owner. I'm not going to go into that controversy, because I don't know enough, but you know what I'm saying. With a history. And, whatever we say, I hate harking back to the past, but, we have a successful history as well. We have all the ingredients, but it's just been a lack of execution, poor direction, and we've been all through that. But this is someone, Frank Lampard, best midfielder, best player in Chelsea's history. Someone we can base our future culture on. And you guys have mentioned it already about people like Tim Cahill coming back to the club, a modern technician who has Everton in his blood. So that would be a perfect thing. But yeah, I always get nervous talking on these things. And last time I was a bit of a motor.
You're only talking to us. Don't worry about it.
Been superb.
I do get a bit nervous though, but yeah, I enjoy it as well.
No, it's been a great call, absolutely brilliant call. But you're right. He's been able to harness the fans and everything else, and he won't accept it. He said it before. You hear his language. Even talking about the away form, saying we know that's not good enough. We'll sort that. That conviction in what he's saying, because he's been there and done it, and he had to scrap to be the best. And I feel like he's energetic. He's got an energetic staff with him, and hopefully all together we'll be sound.
There's just one last point I want to make, because I know you're wrapping up.
No, go on.
But it's just about the referees. Now, it's very easy for us to fall into the trap and think that there is an agenda against us specifically. And the decisions would suggest that. But I reckon genuinely, and I think we've all mentioned it, that the standard of refereeing is poor. Yeah. And it's coming to a point now. I think we've had an Australian official come into the PGMOL as well recently, but it's coming to the stage now. Now, in my profession, we have to accept knowledge from all around the world. We get doctors from Italy, America, you name it.
West Derby.
Because West Derby, exactly. Polluting the London, with the London hospital. But you need to have that exchange of knowledge, technique, and understanding. And I think it's coming to a stage where our referees are not good enough. It's compromising the sanctity of the league. Yeah. And it's now coming to a stage where we need to get foreign refs in, even in a consulting post, to improve it. Because we can't go on like this. The way we use VAR versus, if you look at Serie A, Serie A is just like the ideal to me for referees. And I think that's just my last point. We just need to move on with that.
Nice one, Ahmed. Right. Superb.
Brilliant,
call, mate. Superb.
Top man, lovely to speak to you.
See you later.
See you soon.
Cheers, man.
Just on what Ahmed was just saying there, surely we're coming to a stage sort of where the top 5 leagues in Europe could start looking at a situation like the Champions League does, where they import refs from other leagues, so that, let's say look at Italy, you've watched you've watched that documentary about the Juventus scandal. So it's a big game, you got Juventus versus Milan, top of the league table clash. Why wouldn't you bring someone in from the outside? From Germany, from England, not from England, we're terrible. But why wouldn't you, to stop even any hint that there might be any, on the day of the game or the day before the game, the referee's announced he's some fella from Germany, he's brought in. The same with us. If there's a big game, Man City versus Liverpool, you bring the best fella in from Italy, who has no allegiances to anyone. His brother doesn't live in a spare room in Manchester or whoever. Why? I don't understand. These leagues are they've got so much money in them and they've got so much power between them. Why not have it like a Champions League thing where it's like you are bringing the best, you've got a pool, the same kind of pool, and you are mixing and matching, you are bringing them in. Because let's be honest, if you're a referee who referees in the Champions League from England, and you've got 2 teams and one's from Italy and one's from Spain, you're talking to them in English and they know what you're saying, or you know the odd phrase from each. It's not like these fellas are getting thrown into the deep end. I just think that, again, it's that thing of what can we do to almost stop that Super League, even though we want the Super League. But it's what can we do to get that full way of looking at things, so we know there aren't these issues. So Everton,
there's no predetermined ideas.
So we aren't getting some fella. Everton, Man City might be looked at and they might go, well, yeah, that's a game that is worthwhile of a guy coming in from France or a guy coming in from here or whatever. I think that, for me, leaning on the same refs week in and week out does create this thing of not him again.
Yeah.
I think
I
think that should be the time should be for that.
Okay. TDI says the good thing about Lampard's team is that he asked them to work hard and you'll get your rewards with chances at goal, and the fans can sense that, which is creating a great atmosphere. Anthony Osmond says, like and subscribe, doing a great job, lads. Love listening to the phone-ins. Astro's a legend. Sharon Blues TV says, no, we need to be on it the whole 90 minutes like we used to. That's from Sharon. She's absolutely right. John Grace says, evening fellas, long-term subscriber at Toffee TV and now got on the old Patreon too. Love these Wednesday night club calls, they're brilliant. I know we aren't in the best place as a club at the moment and the table is scary, but I'm loving seeing a younger, driven and animated manager in our dugout. Keith says, what a sound call from Ahmed. Bloody awesome. There you go. Didn't say I was reading the one above. Sorry, Keith, you didn't say bloody, but I did. Gray Lee says, I had a full 4G at Goodison on Saturday for the first time ever. The power of Frank. The flower of Frank. The flower of Pank. I was thinking about Ahmed.
Two things there. Someone's actually just put in the comments, Toffee TV, sponsored by Newman. Newman and Just for Men.
Yeah. Quality. I'm going for, what's it called? I've seen it on Instagram today. I want to try it, definitely.
I seen there was a beard one the other day.
No, like a soap in a
that
soap
might,
cover.
See, that's
it.
That's something I might have to get involved
in.
Have to, because there's a definitely grey thing.
Yeah, and you're like the beard.
And I've got a beard, so
the beard.
And it doesn't work because like if I had like it was like the salt and pepper kind of thing, it'd work. But the ginger with the grey, I mean, you know.
Well, there's this soap cover that apparently you just wash it in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try it.
Do it?
No, do it.
Well, you've done it before.
You've got to
We're
do
all
it.
86 to eat.
You've got to. Why not? Why? Who says it? Make it 2022. If I want white hair, I won't have it.
Exactly.
And if I want a team that'll win, I'll have one.
Well, we'll see about that.
Well, maybe not.
We'll see about
maybe
that.
Not. Where are we on it? Yeah, Bainey says, Toffee TV brought to you by Newman. Daniel O'Connor says, hi lads, hope you're well. Only thing I'm worried about now is us getting results away from home. If we play like we did against City in every home game, we'll get results, but we need to get these performances away from home as well, otherwise it's still a worry. Well, you're right, Daniel, and we can't be putting all our eggs in the home basket and going, yeah, we'll be all right with our home games. We're going to have to go to like Burnley and to like Watford and get results. Even West Ham. West Ham's a tough game, but you can, if you match them up, they're not amazing. They're hard to beat, don't get me wrong, but get point. We won there last year. Things like
just
that.
Seen this boss tweet saying, Christ, Big Jet TV feels about 4 years ago, doesn't it?
Oh my God, yeah. I was dodgy the other week, wasn't it? And then he was all the rage. But yeah, I don't know why I put that on.
I don't know. I thought you were going to start singing.
I was going to start.
It's Christmas time.
We've done that one.
There's a very much a super chat there.
Is there? Yeah. There is. Here we go from Seamus Van Lush. I mean, get me a better name.
What a name!
Get me a better name tonight.
That's an Irish Dutchman who makes soap.
I was going to say, does he make the soap cover I've just been talking about? Your beard and my hair. Says, hope things are well, guys. Wondering what you all thought of the Ashley Cole appointment. It had to piss off Leighton Baines. No, I don't think it did. I think one has been coaching longer than the other.
Did it piss him? Are you saying it pissed them off because they're both relatively young coaches, or is it like because they were both left back?
The left back thing. The left back.
No, I think Leighton Baines is doing his thing, isn't he, at the club? I don't think. There was a thing when Dunk took over and Baines was in around. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be like fast tracked. Leighton Baines is dead early on in his coaching career.
He's helping out Paul Tate at under 18 level.
Last year he was more like a guidance counsellor for players. He'd go around and chat, and he didn't have it like an official title. This season he's become the under 18s assistant manager, and I think he wants to go through and learn properly. And I think, that's the way to do it.
See, I don't even know if Leighton will end up like that, or he'll end up doing like business. I can see him doing, do you know what I mean? Not necessarily being like the coach or whatever. I can see him maybe dabbling in like the recruitment side and other things, like Kevin.
Half-time entertainment.
Well, maybe not that. But Kevin Thelwell with guitar, you never know. Kevin Thelwell might have a plan for him as well, or maybe he will just come through. The 18s and then maybe do the 23s or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But no, I don't think so. I think the appointment of Ashley Cole is an excellent appointment. He's very, very highly rated. He's obviously England under 21 assistant manager as well. So yeah, I think it's a good appointment.
Just looking at Abramovich's trophies that he's won while he was at Chelsea.
A lot.
5 Premier League titles. 5 FA Cups. 3 League Cups, 2 Community Shields, 2 Champions League, 2 Europa League, a UEFA Super Cup, and a Club World Cup.
It's not bad, is it? Not a bad
That's
haul
not
in.
bad.
What is it, 18 years he's been there? It's not bad, is it?
Jesus.
Fucking hell, Mashiri's lucky to win the derby. Michael Cosgrove says, thought Ahmed's call was class. Well in, lads. Yeah, he was. Ahmed was really good. Really good call. We've got about 20 minutes left, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're doing till 7. So if you're a patron and you want to make your
If you're going
call,
to
then
call in
do
the
it.
next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we
Otherwise-
haven't got like what we did last week.
We have to cut someone off at the end. So if you're going to call, then get it in
Call
now.
me. Call me.
Baby, won't you call me now? How many managers?
Have you got your mic on while you're saying that?
No.
We'll put your mic on then and say it. Absolute amateur hour. So people can hear what you're saying.
How many managers do you think Abramovich had in his time?
I think he had, from the top of my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Saying he's had 10.
Find out for us, Ned. I'm saying 8.
Dexy says, okay, rules. The on-field team cannot request VAR adjudication. The VAR team, and I say team as there are usually 6 persons in a VAR room, technicians, advisors, etc. But the only person that can make the final decision is the VAR named official. If VAR do not initiate contact with the on-field referee, then the game plays on as per ref decision. Hope this helps. Basically, I have nothing else to do but read all this real crap. But I think that's nonsense, Dexy. Not what you're saying. What them rules are, I think it's pathetic, because if I was Paul Tierney on Saturday and it was all going off and I'm the man in the middle of it, I want to see for myself. I want to go, I want to look here, because I'm the one ultimately people are going to look at and go, referee's crap. So I want to know. And then you go over, you have a look, and you go, no, you're right, Chris Kavanagh, it isn't a penalty, or it's a penalty, end of story. But what it is,
14.
well, don't forget, you had a couple of like Roberto Di Matteo and Rafa Benitez and Gus Hiddink and people like that.
Yeah.
Gus Hiddink twice, was he?
Yeah.
Mad.
Beat us.
But no, I know he beat us once, yeah. So it's I think he should be able to request it to be seen, because he is the referee. He's in charge of that game. The fella sat in Stockley Park eating Mackies.
As I said,
isn't in charge.
It's procedure. The procedures are all wrong. The referee should always. Fella should just go. I think you might just. You should just have a little look at this.
Yeah. I always thought it was the referee is playing, the game's playing, right, and all that. So it's going on and going on. He's trying to referee it as best he can. Something happens, right, and the VAR sees it. So the VAR then should go and have a look at that. I think it's a red card. What do you think? And that's how I always thought it should work. But apparently it isn't that. The game just plays on, and then they go, right, you've missed a penalty, and just let us look. We're just checking for a penalty. So he stands there like that. So why, when they're checking for a penalty at other times, did they go over and look at it? And he didn't on Saturday. It's all of that. There shouldn't be any grey areas. When they're checking for a possible penalty, the referee should go over. If it takes you longer than 30 seconds, so that means you're looking for a way not to give the decision. I think that's wrong. Mike says Roman Abramovich has written off 1.5 billion in loans owed by the club and will donate all net proceeds of the sale of Chelsea to a foundation to help the victims of war in the Ukraine. From ESPN.
Is he going to help victims of Palestine? Because he owes them a little bit of money and a little bit of land after he paid people to go in and destroy their homes. So maybe he should think about them as well. It's a true story.
Keith Powell says, Peds, where's my IBAN account details? Hello.
Okay, calm yourself down.
All right, I'm only reading Keith's message to you, relaying.
Hope you're well, Keith.
Yeah, I hope you are well, Keith. Matthew Boosh says, could Ashley Cole moonlight as our team photographer? I don't think so. Baines is neat with the camera, isn't he?
Well, if you heard the story a few years back, Ashley Cole was comfortable with something else. Don't know if you remember.
I don't really want to go back into it.
No, it was nothing to do with that.
Basic Trig says Ted Lasso fixed the showers and Frank fixed the Wi-Fi.
Who fixed the Wi-Fi?
Frank.
Oh, Jesus, sorry.
Ted Lasso fixed the showers. Frank fixed the Wi-Fi.
Sorry, it sounded like you said something else.
I don't even.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, I don't even. Anthony Osman says, ask Ned how many callers are in the queue.
There's no one. There's no one in the queue. If you want to call now.
Call now. Otherwise, we'll just finish early because I can hear Red's getting.
Yeah, they're all getting giggity.
Geared up for the next one.
They're all getting giggity for
Norwich
18-0.
18-0 with Kelleher getting 6 from the bench. But what can you do? They're not getting beat by Norwich, Ned. Stop it. Mike says that was reported from ESPN, and by the way, and yes, Ped, you're spot on. Keith says at the end of the day, it's the referee who makes the decision. People are his video assistant, but he needs to have a look at himself. Sorry, it works in Europe, but not in the Premier League.
Keith got it, and Keith, I've sent you an email, Keith.
You know, that's the thing, isn't it? Is that it does seem to wear. Oh, okay,
That's what I thought you said, genuinely.
Why would I have said that?
Because it's just the way you said it. It sounded like that. That's why I was like, what?
No, I did not say that. Daniel O'Connor says VAR is a tool. If a workman does a poor job, you don't get angry at the hammer he used.
I always say that.
Need better referees and outside organisations to judge their performance.
Better
Absolutely,
procedures.
Daniel. Nailed that one like...
Hammer.
Yeah, like a hammer.
Like...
Yeah, I know, don't say it. Simon Jones says, oh, go on Norwich, 2-0, it would make my week so far. Everton Blues says Everton will win on
Seen a
Monday.
picture I've just found of Ned when he's older.
Oh my God, that's him. That's him. Another 10 years on the as a guard, and that's Ned. When he's 30, that's what he'll look like.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Seamus Van Lush says interview referees post-match instant accountability. They don't want to do it though, no. Seamus. They won't do it. So that's what's grim. And GTE says the fact that managers get fined or even beginning to question referees shows how corrupt it is, in my opinion. Sai says we need less biased referees. I absolutely agree.
Kevin Jones is onto it as well.
I've seen someone else there, yeah. I don't even know why you thought.
Because you sounded exactly like.
Why? Why don't? Why?
Why have you got on Christopher Walken?
Because I don't
I get this watch up my ass for 3 long years.
I just don't understand why you thought that would be said though. It's just such a strange thing. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Berserk. Absolutely. I was just literally reading out a comment. You absolute lunatics. Basic Trig says when Ned is 50, he will be Brian from Afterlife.
Oh, Brian.
Brian.
Which one was Brian? The smelly one. The one they kept on saying was smelly.
He wasn't smelly, was he? The one who was.
Yeah, the one who had the
one whose wife was getting.
The one who got, oh boy.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, they always kept on saying he stunk in it all the way along.
Maybe
for 3 seasons.
Ned doesn't smell.
No, that's not Ned.
That's not Ned.
That's not Ned.
No, I think Ned. Afterlife, Ned's more likely to. Ned's more likely to be the fella who moved in with Brian.
If you're a patron,
because his mum,
you're well aware of Ned's washing habits because he gives us an in-depth description of how he washes a certain item of his body.
I don't
think.
No, it wouldn't have got that far if I was here.
Well,
it wouldn't, because I wouldn't have allowed it.
Oh, a patron made a mad statement.
No, listen, lad, it's over. Stop talking about it, Ned.
He was very soapy.
There's nothing wrong with being very soapy.
No, it's just the way he described it. It was not right.
Simon says, Sky, stop interviewing David James. He's thick.
Oh, no.
The goal that denied, that kept us up, was ruled out for a foul in the build-up. The ref said so after stop spreading. Did he say that we stayed up because of Bolton years ago?
24 years ago.
which was a foul on Neville Southall.
24
I hate David
years
James.
ago.
Absolute clown, the fella. This.
It's mad the way,
an
like...
awful goalkeeper
No, what I don't
and an
understand,
awful
though,
pundit.
I don't understand. And people might think this is quite funny because we've got a channel and stuff and we chat. But I don't understand why premium, like, channels who think they're premium, like Sky Sports News and the radio talk station that talks about sport, have people like Gabby Ogbonlahor on. Like, why would you have him on? He's never done anything in the game. He's not someone I wouldn't go, oh, I've got to put the radio on. Gabby Ogbonlahor's on. I really want to hear what he's got to say.
Villa fans might, though. Villa fans.
But that's a very precise... If it was Villa fan TV or radio, then I could understand that. But who the fuck wants to listen to Gabby Ogbonlahor?
It's the David James thing, I can't understand. Why are you asking David James about a penalty? It wasn't a referee. He's a crap goalie. He's a crap pundit. Why are you asking David James? It's weird. Dead weird. Dead weird. But that's that's what it is, isn't it?
There you go.
He's an absolute, I mean, bringing Bolton up from that's quite spectacular. 25 years ago, 97, it actually happened, wasn't it? So, and it was a foul. And no one talks about the Bolton goal that got given a Villa, which wasn't over the line. So, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, Daniel Beacall says, "Hi guys, signed up to this for the year, but ex-players doing VAR will be more corrupt than it is now."
Is our ladies training?
Interesting.
Is our ladies? Look, they're focusing on them because they're wearing kazoo and they're not wearing... Look at the size of the shirts. The shirts are massive on them.
That's all right.
They've gone down to make... Look at them focusing on the women's team because it was sponsored by Megaphone.
Fair play. Keith Powell says, "Love to all. Busy day tomorrow for me, but all will be well. Love the crack,
Good
lads.
man.
Never ending. Thanks a lot." Is right, Keith. Top man.
Good man, Keith.
Brian Garza says, "Should we send Kalina in?" Brandon says, "I'm glad I'm not Ned Soper," with a stunned face. Nick O'Brien says, "Is right, lads. Good call and think Frank's the man for sure. Feel like we're all Blues again." It's an interesting one. There's a lot of positivity for Frank Lampard, rightly so as well. James 98 says, "Even Villa fans think Ogbonlahor is a total melt."
Yeah. Melt of the highest order.
Yeah. Kenneth Davis says, "Baz, he's so relevant and he was a poor keeper too, crying face." He was though, wasn't he? Yeah. David James. The fella with two first names.
No one annoys me more than anything about David James. Anything in the world. The fact that they have him on Zoom and he still hasn't got a decent camera or a decent microphone. That's what annoys me more than anything in the world. Have a bit of pride in your appearance and get yourself a half decent webcam and a microphone.
What annoyed me was when he started painting pictures with like his white shirt open and no socks and shoes on, as if like, I'm gonna be an artist now and this is what I have to do, because that's what he tried to do as a goalkeeper. Goalies wear these gloves and his shirt, so that's what I'll be. What a crap goalkeeper he was.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Go on.
When I went to my nan's funeral, I was driven to it
by David James
in David James's car.
Well, there you go.
And because my cousin her fella used to be best mates with him, and one night woke up for a glass of water and found David James and Robbie Williams on the couch. Not like, just having a chat and having a couple of after beers.
Fair play.
There you go.
But he is terrible.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Bad.
There you go. James says says Danny Mills is another one as well. Leeds fans don't like him on TalkSport. I mean, someone's got to be on it, but
yeah,
when they're just chatting nonsense,
when it's just
and it's all like clickbait stuff. James is a blurt. He's got no right to speak about Everton, in my opinion.
Ogbonlahor saying about Spurs fans should get used to not winning things like Everton, and you're thinking,
what did you ever win?
Villa and you never won anything.
No. But hey ho.
Like I don't mind that. I actually think that's better if that comes from someone like who does what we do rather than a professional footballer. You had a chance to do something.
Yeah, we couldn't affect it. Yeah,
we didn't.
Diffy. Steve K says, "I gave up Sky Sports TV when you had to have played for Liverpool to have an opinion." And Chris Burns says, "Wasn't David James the keeper when Liverpool should have won the league once, but he was so bad he lost it for them?" Blaming his PlayStation, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he had like PlayStation thumb, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's also the fella who got the cream suits for the final in '96,
which was
because
beautiful.
He had a deal with Armani.
Oh, that was brilliant. Made them look like total knobheads.
He got them, didn't he? So
and big cancer now popped up.
Why were they warming up at Derby's ground? Derby played last night.
I don't know.
Do you ever look at Abramovich though? You know the Second Born film. Do you remember the Second Born? It's clearly based on him. That isn't it, the appearance. Yeah. The fella in the second film who hires the fella, because the Second Born film is essentially there's a fella who looks very much like Abramovich.
India, doesn't he? That one
gets his hitman to go and kill him because he's set up a thing that will, because they use CIA money, blah blah blah. And then they killed people and they tried to blame it on Jason Bourne. But he looks the absolute spit of him. It's like this fella who just seems to get loads of work because he looks like an oligarch and very much looks like him. There you go. So anyone who's seen the Second Born film, you know what I'm saying.
You know where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying.
Everyone's happy.
I think he's in Tingo as well, Rock and Roller. Which is a good film. It's one of.
I haven't seen that one. You know, I was trying to watch it and never ever did.
Do you know what? It was supposed to set up like a bit of a franchise.
Yeah.
And it didn't do too well. But if you look at the people who are in it, it's like some massive names
loads,
in it.
Yeah, I've seen it actually.
It is. It's funny. Like it is funny. Yeah. It's Tingo, isn't it? What's his name? The Cockney fella.
Statham.
No, Guy.
Oh, Guy Ritchie.
It's a Guy Ritchie film.
It's Guy Ritchie,
and it's got loads of big names in it, but it never quite caught fire. But yet the people who were in it are some mad names. Like he's in that as well, and he plays a Russian gangster. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Any more?
No.
It's time to get noisy.
No, we're getting noisy and we're going.
Won nearly every single game, have you?
Yeah. Beauts.
Right.
Take it easy. We'll see you later. Bye. Hit the like button on the way out. Bye.